Hey everybody, John Skiba here from the Consumer Warrior Project, and I wanted to do a video today on a new law that was recently passed in the state of Arizona, House Bill 2240, which is absolutely terrible for Arizona consumers. And I wanted to explain what it was as it relates to civil judgments that debt collectors get when they go to court and how it can impact your case. So what the law is they have extended the amount of time that a civil judgment is good or valid in Arizona and the amount of times as far as a creditor's ability to renew it. So what the law used to be is that if a debt collector sued you and got a judgment against you, that judgment was good for 5 years. The creditor could then renew the judgment every 5 years forever until you either file for bankruptcy, pay the judgment, or you die. They could keep renewing it every 5 years. What this new law did is it extended that 5-year period to 10 years. So they doubled it. So now, if a debt collector, a junk debt buyer, anybody files a civil lawsuit and gets a judgment against you, that judgment right out of the chute there is good for 10 full years. And then the creditor is allowed to renew the judgment for 10 additional years. And they can continue to do that in 10-year blocks, again, until you either pay it, file for bankruptcy, or die. And the reason why this is so frustrating for me, this is Arizona living up to its reputation as being very hostile to consumers and really not letting people escape the past. Arizona is very creditor friendly in the types of laws that it passes. And this kind of adds insult to injury because we already have a long statute of limitations when it comes to credit card type debts. So for instance, and a lot of people get these confused, so I wanted to separate these two. But the statute of limitations is the amount of time that a creditor has to file a lawsuit after you go into default on your credit card. In Arizona, that's 6 years. So if you stop making payments on a credit card or something happens and you can't make those payments, the creditor then has 6 full years to file a lawsuit. Once they file that lawsuit, then the statute of limitations issue is over as long as it's done within that 6-year time period. What this new law does is it then on the backside, if they get a judgment against you, now that judgment is good for 10 more years, and then they can keep renewing that every 10 years forever. And so this really, this creates it right out of the get-go. It creates a 16-year period where people are not able to really get away from financial mistakes of the past. I am all about, creditors having the right, obviously, to come in and assert their rights and get the judgments and collect on valid debts. The problem that I have with this particular law, and this it's an amendment of a prior statute, is I would like to know where it was coming from as far as who was actually pushing for this change. My guess is it's the lobbyists for the junk debt buyers. These junk debt buyers are companies that go out, pay pennies on the dollar for these accounts, and then sue Arizona residents in huge volume, tens of thousands of lawsuits filed per year. And almost none of these companies are based in Arizona. And so what we have is the Arizona legislature passing a law that benefits almost, not exclusively, but overwhelmingly, it benefits these junk debt buyers, these out-of-state companies who are taking money from Arizona residents and shipping it out of state. So I'm not seeing how it really benefits, the run-of-the-mill civil lawsuit. Most creditors, when they file a civil lawsuit, they want to try to collect on it quickly. That's not always the case with junk debt buyers who obtain judgments that are, churning interest at 30% plus. So it's a big problem. This, again, goes to the reputation that the Arizona law is very creditor friendly and really just doesn't give consumers a break. So it is what it is. We're gonna have to deal with it. But one other final thing to note, I've had some questions as far as, is the law retroactive? The statute doesn't mention this specifically, whether it applies to judgments that have been entered in the past. Most of the commentary I've seen on it, people are saying the judgments that were entered prior to August 3rd, 2018 will be subject to the 5-year renewal period, while anything after August 3rd of 2018 will be subject to the 10-year period. So If you're dealing with some kind of debt problem and you know these types of judgments and you need some assistance or you want some help, I have a lot of resources over at my website. I have templates, forums, online tutorials. Head on over to consumerwarrior.com. It's consumerwarrior.com, and you can download those things there. A lot of helpful information, other videos, and other blog posts. So thanks for watching today. Appreciate it.